It's not just the future of Greenland we're fighting for, it's the very democracy of the free world. Greenland is now standing at the forefront for the battle of the world freedom and democracy. If Greenland falls, then the world order will be destroyed. If Greenland falls, China will be able to invade Taiwan. Israel will prepare to fully annex Palestine, and the region will become unstable. And in Europe, many past tensions will start to rise again. So if Greenland falls, the world as we know it will fall. That is my
Yeah.
personal opinion.
Welcome back to another episode of the Left Agora. My name is Akif, and today I'm joined by Aqqalukkuluk Fontain from Greenland. He's the chairperson of the youth organization Inuusuttut Ataqatigiit, which can be translated as United Young Inuit, or alternatively as Youth of the Community. Parent party of United Young Inuit is Inuit Ataqatigiit, which can be translated as United Inuit of Greenland or alternatively Community of the People. United Inuit of Greenland is a left-wing party, and Mr. Fontaine is also a member of the party's board of directors. We conducted this interview during a very tense period for Greenland and in many ways for the whole world. It was valuable to hear about the ongoing developments as well as Greenlandic politics and society from a left-wing perspective. And now, here is my conversation with Aqqalukkuluk Fontain. In the earlier interviews with the leaders of youth organizations in two different Nordic countries, we found that their organizations operate independently while maintaining close collaboration with the political parties they are informally affiliated with. In your case, however, the United Young Inuit seems to have a formal connection to its parent party, United Inuit of Greenland. Um, Apart from that, the board of community of the people includes two representatives from United Young Inuits, one of whom is yourself. Could you first introduce your organization to us? What does the organization advocate for politically, and what are its core principles? Then, could you explain how the organization relates to the party, particularly in terms of structure, independence, and cooperation?
While the United Inuit of Greenland, I will call it Inuit Ataqatigiit, that's our mother party, and the United Youth Inuit of Greenland is the one I'm a chairman at. I will call it Inuusuttut Ataqatigiit. Inuit Ataqatigiit is a left-wing political party that is pro-independence. It's a socialistic party which believes strongly in sustainability, which aligns very well with our way of life, our upbringings, and how we were raised. We strongly believe that the strong should help the weak, and a society cannot work without working together. And while Inuit Ataqatigiit have stronger and more focused guidelines, Inuusuttut Ataqatigiit offers a more leniency and more freedom. We are not as bound as our mother party, where political bounds must be considered. We are bolder in our approach and we are more critical. But during these harsh times, especially in the last election, we saw a form of debate that was very violent and very harsh. While the youth are bold, they are reluctant to speak about which party to support because they're afraid of not fitting with the crowd and being verbally attacked in the society or through social media. So our party, the Young Inuusuttut Ataqatigiit, were not as out in the open because we don't want our members to be verbally abused or verbally attacked. So I haven't asked any of my members to speak up uh, because I don't want to put that responsibility on them. During these hard times, it's very hard for the young people to communicate their wishes or their thoughts on political issues because the debate is very harsh, especially on social media. Ever since the party Nelrak came, the more vulnerable people have started using social media to attack people who doesn't share their conviction.
I
And
see.
yeah, if do you have any follow-up questions?
Actually, understanding this in your case help us better grasp how youth voices are also institutionally represented within party politics. My follow-up question could be about the relationship between your organization and the party, as you are also a member of the board of the party. Could you please tell us more about this?
Yes, while Inuusuttut Ataqatigiit has two board members, it's their membership is more for communication purposes. And while they have a vote, the majority of the boards need to vote together. So it's just a way for the Inuusuttut Ataqatigiit to be able to influence the mother party. And we are not constricted to follow their guidelines or follow their politics. We're allowed to have our own opinion, and we can even act against them if we want to. Uh, the punishment will be a slap on the wrist or some serious talking to. But the Inuusuttut Ataqatigiit, it's very independent. We have our own board and we discuss our own policies there and what to do. But because our beliefs in Inuit Ataqatigiit are very strong uh, as a party, we usually align with them. So
Yes. Perfect.
it
These are
hasn't
great.
it has never been a problem so far.
Yeah, yeah, great insights. So let me now turn into another issue. If this interview had taken place a few months earlier, the context might have been somewhat different. The 2020s are already a complex period for global politics, but the past few weeks have been especially intense, particularly with regard to the US foreign policy discourse and actions. And Greenland has become part of this discussion. In fact, this is not entirely new. The US President Donald Trump raised the issue during his first term. However, at present, Greenland and Trump are once again appearing frequently in international media headlines. So, to understand the situation from a Greenlandic perspective, in this context, I would like to ask you three related questions. First is about your personal view. What is your personal view on these developments? And secondly, how does your organization and party position themselves in response to this situation? And finally, how are recent developments involving the United States, Denmark, and Greenland perceived in Greenlandic public opinion?
Well, I will start with the first question, obviously. My personal view is that if a country who has its own indigenous people, its own culture, its own language, its own way of life, which is run democratically and have yet to obtain sovereignty but is fighting for it, can be treated as a product or a country that can be invaded. then it's not just the future of Greenland we're fighting for. It's the very democracy of the free world. Greenland is now standing at the forefront for the battle of the world freedom and democracy. If Greenland falls, then the world order will be destroyed. If Greenland falls, China will be able to invade Taiwan. Israel will prepare to fully annex Palestine, and the region will become unstable. And in Europe, many past tensions will start to rise again. So if Greenland falls, the world as we know it will fall. That is my
Yeah,
personal opinion. I
thank you.
forgot what the second question was, if you could
The
repeat
second
it.
question was about your parties and your organization's position regarding
While
the developments.
while the government is doing everything it can in the political aspect, uh, the Inuit Ataqatigiit is also telling its members to calmly and uh, in the proper way communicate to people,
Yeah,
to ask them to be calm. I recently, 4 days ago, I made a video in Greenlandic only, where I was telling the Greenlandic people what to do with these feelings. Because during these very trying times, people are feeling afraid, angry, anxious, and they don't know what to do with these feelings, and they want to speak out, but some of them are reacting in anger or trying to persuade Donald Trump directly with videos telling Donald Trump to stay away. But in my video, I suggested that instead of trying to affect Donald Trump, they should try to affect the whole world and the common people of America, of the United States. Because if they really want to protect Greenland, then it's not Donald Trump we need to stop. We have to ask the people of the United States for themselves to stop their president.
yes, yes. Um,
So our people are
mhm,
trying to calm our society, the people of Greenland, and asking them to take what do you call it? To be calm during these times, uh, and take I forgot what the English term is, but to use their everyday life to ground themselves. We still have a functioning society. We still have things to do, and to ground themselves in that and be calm, because everything that can be done politically is being done. And what we can do best now is advocate Greenland, because while Trump and his administration are trying to make us into numbers, territory, and raw materials, we need to show the rest of the world that we're not just numbers, we're not just a territory, we're not just raw materials. There's
of course.
a face behind the Greenland. We are an indigenous people with our own government and our own democracy. We are a free people, and the people of Greenland will decide their own future.
Yes, yes, well said, absolutely. And actually, this just came to my mind. How do you see the role that Denmark plays in this very process nowadays? And not just at the state level, but perhaps I can also ask you if you have a clear picture about the reactions coming from the Danish public opinion. How do you think all those developments are perceived by the Danish public opinion? And actually, Are there strong solidarity messages coming from there? How is the relationship between actually two societies?
It's very tense right now. While everything that can be done politically, Denmark supporting Greenland and Greenland showing solidarity with the Danish government, but publicly in the forums, in the social medias, in the news, I think the news of Denmark, the media of Denmark, they are failing at their uh, as a democratic institution. Right now, they are creating more tension and separation on how the come out with the news. We're seeing a lot of Danish people who are given screen time where they are publicly demanding that Greenland needs to be grateful that they have Denmark, and that if they didn't have Denmark, we would have been invaded long ago and stuff like that. But that doesn't help at all. They're also saying that in Denmark they call it bloktilskud, where they give a few billions of Danish kroners into Greenland, and then they act like that's a fact. But they don't look at the trade. They don't look at the import and export of Greenland. Greenland primarily have trades through Denmark. So when fish that is imported to Denmark, it's sold on for profit. That's a product that its profit are uh, made in Denmark and not in Greenland. So they forget that there's more than just Denmark giving money to Greenland. It's also the other way around. And if we think about the geostrategical the position it gives Denmark in geopolitics, it's it's it cannot be measured, the
Yeah.
value of that strategic importance, which is also the reason why we're here now. It's so important. The value is so high that the president of the United States is calling for annexation of Greenland.
You already expressed a very well-known fact about your political party. It's a pro-independence party, and independence is actually a long-standing and multi-dimensional topic in Greenlandic politics with social, economic, and international dimensions. When we visit, for example, Wikipedia pages of political parties in Greenland, we clearly see that some parties are supporting independence, some are not. So, from your perspective, how is the question of independence currently understood and debated in Greenland, especially in this very period? I mean, I can even ask you if you can divide this debate into two periods. Nowadays, this very period in which actually Greenland and Trump are on the international headlines, and also perhaps 6 months, 8 months ago, is there any difference? And what would you say about how independence is currently understood and debated in Greenland?
While there's some clarification needs to be made. Every party in Greenland wants to be independent except for Adesut. They want to stay in the rigsfællesskabet, the union with Denmark.
Yeah,
But the debate has shifted. The only thing that shifted is the Nelerak supporters. They want independence now. They want to lead the negotiations themselves without Denmark, and they're thinking it's a very strategical card to use right now. If we become independent, we can set our own terms and stuff like that. But they don't have any experience in international trades or in how to make the country work without a proper trade deals and proper international relations.
yeah,
And for us, for the other parties, while we're saying Uh, we cannot become independent right now. We're still fighting for it. We're still setting the foundation to become independent. And while it may displeases the Danes, we still want more. We want more for Greenland, and we want to become independent, and we're working towards it. And we know it cannot be right now. And while these talks needs to be delayed a bit, we still strongly believe in an independent country, in an independent Greenland.
Yeah,
But it's not an expression of non-gratitude for Denmark. We have gratitude for Denmark, but we have a long history with them, and they are very uh, some subjects are very sensitive, and every time a Greenlander tries to talk about independence, the rhetoric used in the media and in the public of Denmark is you cannot take care of yourself, we'll give you money and stuff like that. So the Danes themselves stops talking about economics while mentioning to give Greenland money, because the way they were raised and the way they have perceived this topic has always been with the post-colonialistic mind. So until before they freed themselves from that kind of thinking, we cannot have a proper dialogue.
when you refer media, do you mean right-wing media in Denmark or particularly any kind of ideology? What sort of media do you refer in Denmark that has such a discourse? Is it right-wing media or?
Well, right, while the radical right-wing media has a discourse much harsher than the average media, it's also the public media. It's DR, Danmarks Radio, the Danish radio, the media, and BT and Jylland Posten and TV2. All these, well, they're supposed to be mainstream media, but all these medias, I think they are failing at their job, because instead of uniting us, instead of showing solidarity, they are uh, creating tension between Greenland and Denmark.
I see your
And I
point.
think it has something to do with the while the Danes don't react so much on the social media posts and stuff like that, they forget that Greenland has a long history of being denied rights, of being suppressed from Denmark, and so any any not confrontation, but any provocation is taken very, very seriously in Greenland. People react with their emotions and with anger, because through social media in the public, while it's not all Danes that share these opinions, and while for Danes they're saying we need to be objective about this subject, they also forget that free speech doesn't take away responsibility.
Yes,
Free
yes.
speech gives a lot of responsibility to the media, and right now they are failing at these responsibilities.
I see your point. Greenland is a country with a small population, which naturally shapes its political life in distinctive ways. In one of my previous interviews, I mentioned that regardless of how small a party or a country may be, I see significant potential in left-wing forces to transform their region and sometimes even the wider world. I say this as a person who previously worked on the literature of small state theory of international relations. And therefore, I see great value in understanding left-wing forces in smaller countries as well. So, from your perspective, what would you like to share with us about political engagements, particularly left-wing politics, in a context like Greenland? Perhaps you can also enlighten us about the independence debate once again. But apart from that, what do you see as the main advantages and challenges of pursuing left-wing politics in a country with a low population? How do these conditions shape the international role, visibility, and influence of a left-wing party um, coming from a country with limited population? So my question is more about being a left-wing force in a country where the population is low. What insights would you share with us?
Historically speaking, if you look at Greenland from a leftist point of view, it should be the role model of all. You have a very small number of population stretched on a very wide area. But what do you see there? There's infrastructure. 70% of electricity comes from hydro water plants. There's just an what do you call a proof of sustainability in Greenland. So the Greenland should be looked as a role model for all leftist party because it's the very proof that leftist politics, leftist policies, and leftist way of life can exist in a world, even in harsh environment as in Greenland. If you think about that, Denmark uses about 500,000 Danish krones per its inhabitant in Denmark, and it only gives about 78,000 krones to Greenland. If Greenland was giving more money, it would mean so much. Uh, Greenland is all about clean energy, about sustainability, and about how to take care of our environment and how to take care of the world, on how to take care of our resources, not just raw materials, but fishing and hunting. We are taught in a sustainability since we're very, very, very little. So Greenland should be looked as a role model for leftists. And it also just points out how important Greenland is for the world. It needs to be protected. And you have an indigenous people fighting for sovereignty, but also fighting for clean energy, sustainability, of taking care of the world. So that is what the leftist wings in the rest of the world should look at. It's Greenland is a role model. If you just talk to us and reach out and engage with us, you can see how much you can benefit from us. Every infrastructure that's made in Greenland was made by Greenlanders themselves. That almost every city can be reached now in transport, and while it's not always safe, I mean it is safe, but there's cancellations because of the weather and stuff like that. But infrastructure has been built, and sustainability is the only way for Greenland because we do not want to deviate from our way of life.
Yeah, very significant insights. And speaking of infrastructure and sustainability, um, actually, this could be a question that many may find very curious. How is climate change currently affecting Greenlandic society? And how does your party actually approach the challenge of addressing climate change while also considering economic developments, social justice, and even future prospects of young people, because I think it is at this point inevitable for us to talk about the future of Greenland and the world regarding climate change as well.
Thank you for a very good question because in these times it's forgotten that the climate change is happening. The
Yeah.
topics are war and whatnot, but for Greenland, we are experience the climate change directly. Winter are coming later, and when it comes, it's very cold. So instead of a longer period of winter, we have a shorter period of winter, and because it gets so cold, people are saying that how can there be climate change when it's colder than a few years ago? But it's because the duration is shorter for the winter that it's getting colder because the world itself are trying to reset, but it's failing because if it was working, the winters would be just as long as they were 20 years ago, but they're not. So where it's getting harder, the climate change is not just about the weather getting warmer or getting colder. The climate change is happening around the world where the weather is getting more what do you call it, the weather is getting more extreme.
Yeah.
So while some may say that the climate change is not happening because there's some proof about the Greenland being cold and whatnot, we're seeing it's happening right now.
Especially in the last couple of years, I believe that the impact is much more visible in my hometown in Izmir, for example, especially in this year. It is the first time that we are explicitly um, experiencing a water crisis. Even in the winter, the water levels are very low, and it's a constant debate. When I remember my childhood, the situation was completely different. The winters were completely different in my country, and we feel it very, very obviously, very explicitly. Yeah.
It's the same here, where we can see it in the water, we can see it in the ocean, we can see it in our animals, in in our way of life.
That's very sad to hear. That's very sad to hear. Um, So finally, this is a question that I try to ask my all guests. I try to link their personal experience to their political life. Could you tell us how you personally decided to become involved in politics? What motivated you to join the political sphere, and what are your aspirations and goals for your political path in this uncertain future of the world?
I have been in politics all my life, ever since I was little. My mom is a politician. She has been the health minister for Greenland twice, and my father has been the chairman for the Hunters and Fishermen's Association of Greenland. So I have always been living in the politics world. But
From the
while
same
growing,
party, uh,
no, they were not the same party, but my
different
father
parties.
supports me.
I see.
Yes. And in my case, it's very different. I do not want power. If I could avoid it, I would rather be a family father and taking care of my family. But I can see that our society, not just our society, we need to change our core values. We need to change as a race. The humankind needs to change their values if we want to have a future. And from my perspective, it's the socialist that the strong take care of the weak, or a society that helps together. That is the way forward. And if we don't do anything, the world will plunge into chaos. It's already on the way because if Greenland falls, then it won't be long before the world is plunged into chaos. And I strongly believe that change starts from within. not from others, but from within, from a person itself. So if we want to make a change, it starts with us in here. And I believe in order for humanity to survive, we need to be leftist. That is the way of life we should be focusing on. Because capitalistic or far right, they only care about profits or themselves. It's either America first or that nation first or whatnot. But if we start to think like that, eventually it will just be history repeating itself. And with the technology that has advanced this far, there won't be a next time. We need to change our very core values. We need to change from here and be kind and listen to each other and talk to each other and see and find a path forward, because it's not something we're going to do for ourselves. It's something we're going to do for the next generation. If our children and their children's children needs to have a future, we need to change, and that needed to start yesterday.
Lovely words, lovely messages, and a very rich, very interesting conversation, Aqqalukkuluk Fontain. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you too.
My sincere thanks to Aqqalukkuluk Fontain for this conversation. I extend my best wishes to everyone in Greenland and hope for constructive, positive developments ahead. For more interviews like this one, join me here at the Left Agora by subscribing to the channel. Until next time, let the Agora echo with new voices.